Good morning. How are you, Jamar?
I'm well. How about yourself?
Trying to turn off the TV. I forgot about the copyrights. We'll get blocked. I'm doing well. Thank you so much for asking. It's been a one hell of a week, a wonderful weekend. 33 days of the government shutdown. And if we make it 2 more days, it will be the longest in history.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So if it makes it to the 30 to the 5th, it will be 35 days, which will be the longest since 2018 to 2019. Trump says the government shutdown will happen when the Democrats vote. He's blaming everything on the Democrats. Did you get a chance to see the interview with 60 Minutes Extended?
I didn't even think about watching it. Was it good?
Oh, I watched some of it last night while I was working, but I was like, how did they get him not to do his hands like that? He sat still the whole time.
Yeah, because I figured there was going to be an easy interview for him. Now that he's the president, no more fact checking. They just let him say whatever he wants to say.
Oh yeah, he just say whatever. I did see some of it. I just look at him as, without being critical, as a wounded child who wants to blame everybody else for everything. He couldn't go the interview without blaming Biden. I've watched some old. Have you seen some of the old campaigns between? I watched a lot of things over the weekend about him because I wanted to get so familiar with how we got here and how people at that moment in their life were okay with voting with someone for someone with such the mentality of America is a business. America is not a business. We are
Mm,
people. And for people who voted for him, they don't understand that he's treating us like a business.
right,
Sell, buy, borrow, trade. No, you're fired. This is not The Apprentice.
right. So after watching all that, let me ask you: were
Yes.
you able to like kind of get an understanding of the individuals who voted for him, like based off of what you heard from him? Can you kind of get an understanding of the type of people who voted for him and why would they vote for him?
Yes, because you have two types of people. You have the blatant people who are just plain racist and mean
Hmm.
and wanted someone to kind of like be their voice.
Hmm.
And then you have black people who voted for him because they felt as if they were in an income bracket or they wanted to be in an income bracket that will help them stay in that income bracket. Okay.
Right.
So what I gathered just from and I'm not even talking about on a massive scale, I'm talking about a small scale of people. If you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything.
Right.
so
Absolutely.
so for people who are poor, and I'm talking about white Americans who are poor, and thank you. Um, my little thingy didn't. Can I get a fork out spoon? Um, People who are the white Americans who are poor and voted for him. Let's start there. And who I saw some videos and it was sad. Poor white Americans who are in low income housing, military veterans, some of these men, white poor Americans who have single parenting, who have children. And thank you. And he wants to end public housing. And so this poor guy was like, what am I going to do? Where am I
Right.
going to live? But you voted for him.
Hmm.
And what were you voting for? What were you thinking was going to happen? I don't know. Um, Were Democrats any better? I'm not going to say that. But what I am going to say is I'm not for either party. I'm about um, doing the right thing for the American people.
Hmm.
Okay. That's what I stand for. So, but right now, the Republicans aren't doing what's right for the American people. They're doing their best to become um, in dictatorship, um, being authoritative over the American people. Um, their party becoming insanely rich, and forget about the 42 million Americans that need food stamps. And it's just alarming. Everything that I've
Hmm.
seen over the weekend, because I've just been watching, it's alarming. Even from our people, it's
Hmm.
alarming.
It's looking like the food stamp situation that they'll get some type of relief. Maybe delayed, but it's looking like the court ordered them to go ahead and release the SNAP benefits to those in need. So that's a good thing. It looks like it may just be delayed.
But not
Um,
denied.
nah, it looks like the court made a decision that they have to release the funds. So it'll just be delayed. Um, them poor white people who voted for Trump. So what makes you think why did they vote against their own interests? Was that just those are just the racist white people?
Well, let me say this. Let me stick to this part, and then I'm gonna go back to the vote. So Judge John McConnell of Rhode Island ordered Trump administration to pay food aid in full by noon today. So
Hmm.
today's Monday. And this is what Trump said on his Truth Social post on Friday, that he is asking for a clarification from the court on funding SNAP during the shutdown. He said, if the court provides an appropriate legal direction, it will it will be my honor to provide funding just as I did with the military and law enforcement pay.
Mm,
So even though he's been ordered to pay, he said he's not clear. You know, he's special needs, so he's not clear on what the judge is saying.
right. Uh, so it looks like the Republicans are using the food stamps as leverage, as the Democrats are using the health care as leverage. So they had an impasse where neither side wants to budge. Um, I think they'll release some of those benefits. I think they'll be delayed, but I do believe that people will start getting their benefits for the month of November. And but again, looking back at the people who voted for them, this is what they voted for, and majority of those people who are going to be hurt by the SNAP benefits are that rural and poor white America. They're going
Yeah,
to be hurt the most. I've seen a couple of people make videos stating that the people who are calling this to call in the benefit places and stuff are mostly rural white America. So you get what you pay for.
yeah, you get what you want, and you are not exempt from the impoverished nature and enforcement that is being imposed on that you thought was going to be imposed on others. Now, it didn't skip your house.
Right.
It didn't skip your house at all. What these people are going to do is lose. They're going to lose their mind.
Mm,
Um, because again, we understand what it's like to make ends meet. We know how to pinch and save. We know how to finagle, negotiate our lights for next week if it's not due to get cut off, and pay the car insurance this week. We know those things. We know what it feels like. So for us, this is not out of the norm. For them, if you've never been taught how to survive,
right.
huh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, like you said, we'll figure it out. We
Yeah.
always have. So, we understand what's going on. I don't see a lot of Black Americans personally really panicking. We just, it's almost as if a lot of Black people seen this. They've seen this coming once Kamala Harris lost the election. And after,
Right.
after Black people mourned the loss, they said, okay, you're going to get what you asked for. And that's what's happening.
Mhm.
Food prices is high. Inflation is going up. Nothing he promised outside of rounding up quote unquote illegal aliens is delivered. That's the only thing he's delivered thus far. And he's done that in the most inhumane way possible. Um,
And that concerns me because his mama and his daddy are German descent.
mm,
So
well,
that that's
yeah.
very concerning.
So is his wife. So
Right.
she's an immigrant also.
So they not gonna
It's
pick.
just,
They're gonna pick her
uh,
up. Are they gonna
yeah,
pick her up?
I doubt it. But it's this whole thing about coming over here the right way. That's what I keep hearing. As long as you come here the right way, the wrong way, who's to say what's the right way and the wrong way? When you get here, it should just really be abide by the laws, and make and do the right thing. And most of them do.
So what?
Most immigrants do.
So what happened to this land is your land? This land is my land.
Yeah, as long as you come over here the right way, uh according to them who voted for this, as long as you come over here the right way. It's this real big thing about people thinking that we pay so much in taxes that the immigrants get so much. They do get things. And they get things that the Black community does not get.
Right.
But at the same time, they contribute a lot to the economy. These farms depended on them to pick their fruits and vegetables.
Hmm.
They worked basically something I didn't like, but it's just the facts. They undercut the average American worker. They would work for cheap,
Yes.
right? They did a lot of the housing, the construction work. They did it for cheaper, but they
Hmm.
contributed to the economy. So it should be a certain way you deal with them. The way they're dealing with them, daycare centers and just that's just not right.
I was doing some research about the People's House that was built, which is now called the White House. It was beginning, the construction was beginning in 1792. And it was architect by a immigrant. His name is Buchanan, I believe his last name is. I can't remember his first name. And it took them about the first time about 8 years to build. But it is documented that immigrants built the White House and slaves, free and unfree at the time. And when they would get paid, the slave masters would get paid
Mm.
for their work and not the actual person doing the work.
Everybody's an immigrant. Everybody's an immigrant in the United States of America. Nobody
Exactly.
is, everybody's an immigrant. I guess what they look at it as when the nation was established. So, but everybody here is an immigrant. Most of the people who voted for Donald Trump, their mothers and fathers and great grandparents came over from Ellis Island. So, but again, that's the only thing that he's delivered thus far. Everything else is high. The inflation is going up, food prices, and for people who complain about the SNAP benefits, the reality of it is most people don't make enough money in this country to live. Even those who work every day, some people who work two jobs barely make enough money to barely survive in this country. So, that's the reality of it. Nobody outside of the wealthy is doing very well in the United States of America. Even the average two parent uh two parent household in the white community, the
Yeah,
average income yearly is about $130,000 a year. That's a two parent. That's white people,
yeah.
right? So
And
that that's not enough to live these days.
I believe, and I thought about this the other day. It might sound silly. I believe that all people who've of color should receive SNAP benefits as a retribution to their ancestors of slavery.
Mm. Yeah, they'll never do that.
Oh yeah,
That'll
I
never
think
happen.
everybody should. Yeah, the government should feed everybody.
I believe that. I
It's
believe that
it's
that's what the
on the
government is there
house.
for.
We've whipped your great great granddaddy and grandma, and they've nursed our children, and we've stole their land. Here is an allotment of food stamps for the rest of your life. Yes, I think that should be some type of retribution to us all brown and light brown people. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll never happen because slavery was, according to them, slavery was nobody alive today owned any slaves. So why should they have to pay for what um what was done in slavery? What they fail to realize is the ramifications of slavery. It didn't just affect those that were enslaved. It affect generations
Yes.
of the descendants of those that were enslaved, and not just to mention the slavery. Even after freeing the slaves, you continue. They were free physically,
Right.
but they weren't really free in this country. They still had to be. They were still discriminated against. They still had land stole from them. So it was a lot of things that came behind slavery that they just refused to admit or acknowledge.
Mm. Well, we shall see as the showdown continues, as the circus go on, because that's what it is between the Democrats and the Republicans. And now the president wants to get rid of the filibuster, which means that you can pass whatever law you want. You won't need the Democrats to say yes or no. Now,
Mhm.
did you know that how they passed the Big Beautiful, which is really the Big Ugly bill? Um, they was at a tie, and JD Vance had to come in and give his vote to break that tie in order for it to
Mhm.
pass.
Mhm. Yeah. So that's the advantage of having a majority, and that's the advantage of having a Republican vice president. They can come in. I mean, the Democrats had it when it was Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. So that's just American politics. The American people need to wake up and understand that it's bigger than a king's protest. It's time to do something. It's only going to get worse. It's not going to get any better under this administration. It's not going to get any better under this president. So the time now is to fight because we're not even a year in yet. So if you think this is bad, it's only going to get worse. It's been over 100,000 people have been laid off from
Mhm.
their jobs. Jobs are laying people off left and right, and the price of living is not going down; it's going up. So it's only going to get worse from here. So the American people need to understand that the time now is to fight until the end of this administration is over with. You need to be fighting, real fighting.
And I say that the special elections that they're having, people should get out and vote
Mm,
for those special elections. I know here in Georgia we have the public, I think it's called Public Service Commission. We have that going on November the 4th, which is tomorrow. And
hmm
they had some early voting. So I encourage people, get out, vote for the special elections. You have elections that are coming up next year with those judges, like your local judges, your local commissioners, all of that. Exercise your right to vote. There are people that got out and fought for your right to vote. Don't sit at home and be like, oh, that doesn't affect me. Yes, it does. Because when you
Mm,
start at the lower level, it eventually trickles to the top tier. And if we can switch the parties and the majority at the lower level, we can also make that happen at the top tier.
mm, yeah,
So exercise your right to vote. It is so important to do so. This is
yeah,
a we problem. It's a we problem, not a brown problem, a another color. It's a we problem. So for all of the people that are thinking that because you're white, you're right, no, wrong. Wrong
hmm,
answer. Wrong
yeah,
answer. And you're not
yeah,
privileged in line in heaven. There aren't a white people line or a black people line. It's a line. And when judgment day come, we're all going to be in line with people that we would not have been in line with on this earth.
mm,
And that's something
mm,
to think about. And
yeah,
for some of those people who think it's all about they're white and they're right, what if you had an emergency and you had to get blood? They're not telling you if that blood that you're going to get is a brown person. They're going to just give you the blood.
mm. That's
Period.
true. Yeah, that's true.
So what are you going to ask the doctor? You're going to try to get up, "Hey, is that a black person's blood?" He
Mm,
don't know because the Red Cross doesn't label it Black American, White American, Latino American. They
yeah,
just label it O positive, O negative, RH positive, whatever. It doesn't have a color on it.
hmm, yeah,
What are you gonna do?
that's true. And it's strange that you say that because as what's going on in America right now with everything like you just said, the we part, but white nationalism is on the rise,
Oh, they're
right?
just coming out of the closet. They're like, yeah, that's who you've been the whole time.
Yeah,
But
right.
you
So,
knew that the other parties that were in control were that was not accepted,
mhm,
and you were going to end up in you're going to have repercussions for that type of behavior. And I think a lot of people didn't vote for Democrat for those who were judgmental. They were more concerned about the LGBTQ community more so than worrying about the economy, day to day living, Head
mhm,
Start, SNAP program. You're worried about if someone is being an LGBTQ versus whether or not your child or the next child is going to get free lunch or a subsidized lunch, or if subsidized housing was going to continue, or if that elder lady was going to get Meals on Wheels because you're so concerned about the Democratic Party making fair and equal rights for the LGBTQ community. And it doesn't matter because even with the Republican Party still being in the lead or being the majority, the LGBTQ community is still doing their thing. And you still
mhm,
can't control that. They're just not running the commercials like they were. They're just not out here, dancing in the street. But you were so concerned about that. And now look at all the problems that we have.
right.
The LGBTQ is not my problem. That's not
No,
my concern. Because our concern as people is to teach our children their core values and control what they are watching and seeing and let them know what's right and what's wrong. Even even racism, we're to teach our children that everybody bleeds red, everybody is a person.
mhm,
And it doesn't matter about your color, your religion, your sexuality. You are a person. And in God's eyes, we all commit sin in some form or fashion. I may have ran a stop sign today, so I've committed some type of transgression today. Does that make me a bad person? No.
mhm,
Does that
right.
make me not be able to eat today? No.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's what's wrong with America. Everybody's so worried about the alphabet community that they were so focused on what this man was saying, and their Christianity and their belief in God is not the God that is really talked about in the Bible.
Mm.
They're creating another God and another form of Christianity, because if they were really about Christianity and what God truly believed in, you would be releasing those SNAP benefits. You would be releasing the Head Start money for those kids to go to school. You would continue to fund the Obamacare so that mothers can get to the doctor for their pregnancy. You wouldn't have all these restrictions on Medicaid, and you wouldn't
Mm.
be having everything for the billionaires and stop um, funding the poor, because the true biblical word of God is to help the poor, feed the
Mm.
poor, take care of the less fortunate.
Right,
That's true
right.
Christianity.
Yeah, I agree. But isn't this the same America? Hey, this the same America though, right? Because
Yeah.
I mean, racism didn't start when Donald Trump came into politics.
No.
So this the same America. America didn't change much. It's as far as I can see, it's the same thing that's been going on in America since America was founded. Right? It was founded with people enslaved, and then you discriminate against those people, and you went through a bunch of things to keep these people low. And then now it's your attack to immigrants, and you attack this community and that. So this is America. What we're looking at is just a matter of America catching up with America. It's just catching up to them now. So I mean, I guess that's what bothers me about this whole thing with everyone acting surprised that this is going on. But this is America. This has been going on for the longest time. This is nothing new. Donald Trump is not the he's not the cause. He's just an effect. Donald Trump never becomes a president if America wasn't shaped the way it is. Right? So Donald Trump alone becoming president lets us know what type of country we're in. He is the least qualified president that we've ever seen. He ran on racism. He ran on bigotry.
Mhm.
These are the things he ran on. So it's not really a surprise to me that we're here. Everybody's been working for the wealthy from the time the country started, Democrat and Republican. Both of them uh, are being paid off by wealthy people. It just depends on which wealthy people get is paying which party. They both take money. It's always been about the rich. I'll give you a good example of that. So you remember when we was young and we were able to drink, we drunk out the faucet, we drunk from the water hose. So they dirtied up the water and now they sell us bottled water.
Mhm.
Do you drink out the faucet now?
No. If I do,
Right.
I'll boil my water.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by the wealthy. The
Right.
wealthy dirtied up the water only to turn around and sell us back the water.
Right.
The meanest hustle I ever seen.
Right. That's true.
And that's the wealthy. Now, if our votes, if it was about us voting and it wasn't about the wealthy, then would you allow that to happen?
No.
Nah. So, it's about the wealthy. Your
Yeah.
vote does not matter when you have a multi-billion-dollar company who's paying politicians. It may get an appearance that it matters, but it really doesn't. The vote that matters is those that's the billionaires and the millionaires, the companies that make all the money.
Hmm. Mm. Whew. It is. It is definitely. I never thought that I would just be talking so much about politics.
Yeah.
Every day, it's a circus, and it makes me want to just go dig and dig and dig and dig and dig, and just research and find out like what is going on with the people.
Mm.
I'm like, I'm just like, what is it like? How did we in the world? And I had to go back and look at things from 2011 to now This man has been trying to run for president since 2011. I didn't know, because I was away at the time. I didn't know that he wanted to run against Obama, and he started that with Obama was not that he was an illegal and that he needed to see his birth certificate. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And the more that I begin to dig, I don't know if you remember when Ross Perot ran for president. Do you
Yes.
remember? So he's sort of mimicking him in a way.
Mm.
Because, Ross Perot didn't win,
Right.
but he kind of shook up things in America. But that style of what Trump is doing, if you go back and look at it, it's a medium between Ross Perot and President Reagan. Now, former President Reagan used the same slogan, "Make America Great Again."
Mm-hmm.
And he also did a lot of things with welfare cuts and things of that nature. And that was a very oppressive time for Black Americans during that time. I was 10 years old during the Reagan administration, but I do remember it kind of being hard for my mother. I grew up in a single parent home. I also grew up in low income housing. Um, and my mother worked as a housekeeper, and she made $3.36 an hour, I believe it was, or 32 cents.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it was $3 and some change. And we got by on that. And she had a weekend job as a housekeeper in the rich Buckhead area that she would do. They call them Girl Fridays. And to watch my mother as I look back, and sometimes we didn't have food. But
Mm-hmm.
then the wick man used to bring the milk and the cheese to the house and leave it on in a crate on the doorstep.
Mm.
But that was government funded. And it was called Atlanta Dairy. And it was the red truck. And the milkman would come dressed in a white uniform with a white hat.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, Reaganomics was tough. It was tough during the Reagan era. I mean, I'm sorry. And a lot of things happened during the Reagan era. We had, the black community, crack cocaine appeared. We had the DARE
HIV.
program,
Yes.
HIV. A lot of things happened. So like I said, this country has always been the same. It's just that now they're being affected. See, as long as we were able to convince them, as long as you're doing better than black people, you're
Mhm.
good.
Yeah.
And so the country moved right along. It's coming a time now where a black president, a black vice president, you're starting to see black people, they're beginning to look and see that black people, we're not doing better than black people.
Mm.
Right? So
Right.
that's what Donald Trump tapped into. His first campaign, the first time he ran for president, that's what he tapped into. He tapped into that demographic of individuals who looked and said, "We're not doing better than black people no more, and the country must. It's something wrong with the country. We need a change. Because if
Mm.
we not doing better than black people, then I mean the country broke,
Mm.
right?" And
Right.
that's what he tapped into, and he won. The second
Mm.
time he ran, he didn't even need black people. He wasn't even asking for the black vote. He was making fun of us. He put out
Right. But there are some
sneakers.
black people that actually voted for him.
I'm sure it was. It's like you said, uh some were in a certain tax bracket who felt it would be beneficial for me to vote for Donald Trump, right?
Right.
And then it was some who they just like to go against the grain. That's one thing about black people. Some of us, we just like to go against the grain. If everybody black doing this, I'm gonna go over here and do that.
Right.
Right. So
But
yeah.
but I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Mm.
But you know, what I looked at too is that a lot of people voted for him who felt like they could identify with him, and especially our people. Like, as you know, he has three wives, three baby mamas. He's a convicted felon. So, you know, black people like, yeah, he one of us. He been
Mm,
to jail. He's got a felony. He got
mm,
money. He's gonna make us some money. That viral of ignorance
mm-hmm,
that was going around, and I couldn't believe that these people were thinking that because um, this con man who had been exposed, he's not like you. Because
mm.
if he was like you, he wouldn't be where he is.
Absolutely. Yeah. Real
So
simple.
there's an exception to his the things that he's done in his life versus the things that you have done in your life. Not
Hmm.
meaning you, but meaning black people. You could get a black person can be a convicted felon and can't even drive for Uber.
Right.
He can be a
Exactly.
convicted felon. They'll be like, "Oh, Donald Trump drove me to New York."
Right. He could be a president
Yeah.
with over 30 something felonies.
Yes.
Yeah. Some
And
of us
that's
can't even.
okay.
It's
Like,
okay.
I just don't get it how you could identify with it. And now you're sitting here, everybody, I don't care who they are, what bracket of income they are, if they're not looking at how the underprivileged is being treated, because at some point it has trickled down to one of their family members. Not all white people family are in a high income bracket. Some of their cousins live out in the rural areas, and some of
Hmm.
their cousins live in the trailer park now
Right.
and need
Yeah.
those SNAP benefits, and are now calling them to my, hey cuz, you think you can loan me something?
Oh, they not calling them because see
Okay.
they disconnect themselves. Right. See,
Yeah,
when
but
them white folks don't acknowledge. They don't acknowledge the trailer park. They don't talk about the trailer park. They don't talk about rural America. Only the black community. We reach a certain level and we still talk about what's going on in the hood. Them
right.
white people disconnect from that. They go, look, they, you know what I mean? We the only ones that, and we're the only ones that get held to it. No matter how far Stoney get, you can tomorrow become a millionaire. You can do an interview and somebody gonna ask you about the hood. They're gonna ask you about the hood. Why do black people do this? You're not even in the hood. We the only ones that get held to that. Nobody else gets held to that standard.
Mm.
So they don't care. Some people don't care about them people not getting no stamps.
So they don't care if it's one of their cousins or they family
No.
members?
Yeah. They look, did you see what was going on when their families was going to war with each other over Trump?
No.
How how some family members were questioning how could you vote for Donald Trump? And I mean, they wasn't talking to mothers, fathers. There's some white people right now who are still not talking to their parents for voting for Donald Trump.
Nobody never calls until then.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, they don't care.
Yeah, I didn't see that where people were upset with their parents for that. Dang, I didn't know that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean that was all over TikTok, all over Instagram, story after story of people falling out, family members falling out because of it was that line was drawn. That was a very contested election.
Right.
Where there was a lot of things at stake. So people was taking that very serious.
Wow, that is definitely. When I say so much has happened in these last, and we're 11 months in, almost 11 months into the new administration, and so much hate and venom and um, just fear to be an
Mm-hmm.
American right now. You know, you used to say, I'm proud to be an American. At least I know I'm free. No,
Mm-hmm.
I'm scared to be an American because I
Yeah,
know I'm not free.
yeah. I don't
that's
know.
that's kind of like how the song goes. Let's see here what I had in my notes. So Trump refers to the Democrats as crazed lunatics who have lost their way.
Mm,
Why does he blame everybody for everything?
that's what he does. Well, if I blame you, then I don't got to worry about you. But right, if I'm doing something wrong, it's always to put the focus on you. This way, you're not looking at what I'm doing. I just keep saying, "Look at them! Look at them! Look at them! Look at them!"
Right. That's so narcissistic and egotist. Well, I wouldn't even say egotistical. Egotistical is when he say, I heard in his interview that he thought of bringing the manufacturing of cars back to America. Oh, he says nobody's never thought hasn't thought of that. If Biden had a thought of that, we wouldn't be where we are today. So you saying that no other president besides you didn't think of a way during their term to bring to, because you remember Detroit was one of the main cities where car manufacturing was really big at one point,
Mhm.
and we lost a lot of that overseas. But he's saying that before his administration ends, he planned on making America the top number one car manufacturing in the for the U.S. But it's always the egotistical. I thought of this first. I thought of this about the chips. AI, we're going to be number one in AI. I thought of that. That sounds like a child who feels deprived or jealous of someone else and want to be like, ooh, 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 look at me. I colored in the lines this time.
Right.
That's how I view him, as a big old child.
Yeah. I don't know. I view him as slow. He's slow, and the people that follow him is slow. How much is a car gonna cost if you bring all the manufacturing back to America? Now we're gonna be paying $100,000 for a Hyundai. That's stupid. But it's the people who follow him will cheer that on. They'll go, yeah, bring it all back here so we can get the jobs. Yeah, we'll have the jobs, but we still gotta manufacture. We don't manufacture the things that build the car. So we still gotta trade for the material, and the prices is gonna go up. Like, it's stupid. He's dumb. Donald Trump is he's an idiot. Like, I don't understand it. It's
I
crazy.
was researching about him. He's been bankrupt, I think, twice, and he got in trouble because he did, like, they called it another word, but when I listened to it, I really realized what they were saying was he faked his bank statement to make it look like he was a billionaire,
I could believe that.
to get other people to invest, and that's how he flipped and got his money. He was like, "See, my bank account say this right here," but he didn't have any money. And
Hmm.
again, that's a perception. So if people feel like you a billionaire, they're gonna feel connected to you. Another billionaire gonna give you some billionaire money.
Right. They'll invest in you if they believe you really
Yes.
getting it like that. Yeah, exactly.
So, but he didn't have any money.
Right.
He had lost what he had. He had lost Trump Tower. He had lost the casinos. How do you lose a casino?
Right. The house don't never lose.
Right.
Right. You gamble, right? You ever gamble?
I've been to the casino. Yeah.
So most people know if you gambling, the house never loses. So if you own a casino, you the house. How do
Right.
you
So
bankrupt a casino?
that's what I don't understand. Like, what was it? You giving away too much buffet, too much free rooms? What?
Yeah. He's an idiot. And the people who follow him are idiots.
So everything that he has touched has gone away. So from he at one time he had Trump shuttle, which was a plane. What
Mhm.
happened to that?
Well, what everything is gone. Only thing left is America.
So he's gonna get
Putin
rid of that too?
is going to destroy America. Everything he's touched has went down. His casinos, the Trump Tower. The reality of the Trump Tower is It's a documentary on it. It's shabby. It's nasty. They didn't even film. What was he on, The Apprentice?
Yes.
They didn't even film it in there because the offices were nasty and the rugs, like everything he's touched, it always falls. And now you made him a president, thinking that this was some great businessman. But if you do research on Donald Trump and listen to the people in New York where he did business at, they say it all the time, like, yo, he wasn't a good businessman. No, no, none of us mess with Donald Trump. These is people with real money. And you gave him the keys to the White House. And now he's going to do the same thing to America.
That's what I'm saying.
And he's
Because you
doing it
think,
quickly.
right, that he's such a great businessman. I just seen a news flash come up on my phone that they will be funding SNAP, and there will
Good.
be a delay in the pay. So yay for the
Yeah, that's
people.
good.
Yes, I want to see people eat. I don't want to see people hungry because I
No.
don't want to get robbed. Okay,
That's
hungry
it. And
people
that's the
rob you.
reality. People
Yes,
hungry, they be mad, they you know, a
yes.
lot. Yeah.
I don't want to get robbed. I
I
definitely
don't
don't
want to
want
do
to get robbed. And so Trump offers no immediate plan to address the healthcare costs. As you know, open enrollment began yesterday.
that. Hmm.
So a lot of people who are depending on those subsidies from Obamacare. I don't know if you, well, you say you have health care from your wife's insurance at work,
Employment. Yeah.
but for some people who don't have that luxury, such as yourself, they go on the website, they put in their information, they put in their income, and based off their income, they get a tax break. So instead of that premium costing them, we'll say an average, excuse me, we'll just use an allocation of $25,000 a year. And
Hmm.
you put that information in there. So instead of you having to pay $150 a month with the Obamacare subsidy and the tax subsidy, you'll only have to pay $40 a month.
Okay.
And you get to go to the doctor. Your medication is $3.
Right.
And that's a great benefit for a working mother or father, where
Hmm.
they're able to, if they get sick or feel some type of way and they want to get medical care. It is, and another thing in America that I want to preach to our people: do preventive health care. Do not wait till your ears start ringing and your eyes start messing up and your head start pounding. Go to the doctor. Most of these preventive health care checkups are free.
Hmm.
So an insurance company rather pay for the preventive care rather than pay for the surgery.
Right.
So go get that checkup. Call your doctor. Get your eyes checked. Get your teeth checked. Your mouth is connected to your heart. So if you're not brushing your teeth or flossing daily, brushing daily, eventually those germs that you swallow are gone. I'm not a doctor, so please don't take my advice. I just know what my doctor tells me, okay, and what my mama told me. So what I'm telling you is just something
Right.
hygiene that I was taught, that your mouth is connected to your heart and you should want to have good dental hygiene. Go see a dentist. Before they started messing with this healthcare, you could get dental care for $8 a month, and that
Mm.
include free cleaning. I'm just saying.
Uh, yeah. I totally agree with you on that. You gotta go to the doctor. Gotta
Yes.
go get you gotta go get your checkups, and don't wait till it get bad. You know your body. You should know your body better than anybody else. And when something doesn't feel right, but again, like you were just talking about with the healthcare is expensive. Everybody can't just go into a doctor's office and be able to pay that type of money.
Right.
Like I said in the beginning, the Republicans is using, well, they were using the SNAP benefits as leverage over the healthcare thing just to get the Democrats to sign off. And that's all. You playing with other people's lives,
He
right?
don't
Other
care.
people's health, man. And
He doesn't definitely care at all. I had wrote down Federal workers during the shutdown are going unpaid and continue, and active military personnel as well as National Guards will receive a delay in payments. Um, and the Trump administration, as I said, they had till noon today. They responded. They're gonna, since they say they didn't understand. Um, there is going to be a delay, but people will be getting their food stamps, and we covered that. So, I mean, it's just, I
Our
don't know.
military
What's
should
next,
never
America?
go. Our
Huh?
military should never not get paid. That shouldn't even be a question. And that just show to me that is to me that's despicable. And I always felt that way about the military, even with Vietnam veterans, people who come back, they need health care. I've always felt like this country treats our veterans like, but every day you set, but as soon as Memorial Day come, you see all these flags, or you see all these flags of how much they love the military. But our military is treated so bad. Our military should never go without pay. That's ridiculous.
And as you said, one thing I want to elaborate on, like our military personnel, they have fought for our country. They have done things. They have made it where we are able to walk out our door and to be free and to walk around and do things. They should not be homeless. They should not be hungry.
Never. Right.
They should have housing. They should have a humongous support system
Yes.
that support them through what they're going through. Um, they shouldn't be on the corner with a handout
Never.
asking us for money. They should be well taken care of.
Yes.
And our government needs to do better. Our people need to do better in taking care of our veterans, our mothers, our young children with special needs. There should not be a special needs child without special education. There should not be a child in school without reduced lunch. If the prisoners can get free food, so can the children in the school system. They should
Real.
not go hungry.
Yes. And that's something, ain't it? That's
That
something
is.
that you will make sure that the prisoners in prison get 3 meals a day, but you'll argue up and down about free school lunch for children.
And we need to do better with these children to keep them out of prison, because statistics shows that when a child doesn't have the education that it needs, the probability are high that they will go out and commit crimes. So our
Mm.
focus to keep the prison door closed, we should keep the school doors open and
Mm.
keep the books open and make a learning experience a great experience so that these children can thrive and be better citizens and better Americans.
Well, well, that only happens in one community. In the other community, they have great schools. They have great schools. Yeah, and that only happens in one community where even when I was growing up, our school systems were much better.
Right.
And in the South, based on I was living at I went to school up north, but in the South, we were always told that you guys were ahead of the curve when it came to education. We would laugh because I think y'all started school in August.
Yes.
So we would always laugh and say, "Oh, they got to start school in August." But you guys were always ahead of the North in education wise. But the school systems were much better. What happened to them?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
the
didn't go to
schools got
school.
worse and the prisons got filled up.
That's true. And statistics shows that if a child does not have the adequate education in their youth and that opportunity, they are more than likely to commit crimes to try and survive in their
Mhm.
adulthood. So
Especially,
let's keep the school doors open, productive in all communities, make them safer. And, that's something we can talk about too this week about gun control, because we need to make it safer for the children to go to school. And they need to have safe personnel, people that they can talk to if they can't talk to people at home. Because
Mhm.
once that child, we can get where those children are thriving, we're going to have better adults, less people in prison, more people, productive people in society, a thriving economy, and it'll just start to generate. And I know that sounds crazy. It can happen if everybody stick together, you know? But
Yeah, yeah. That's
that's
gonna be
what you call
difficult.
really making America great again.
That
Taking
would be.
care taking care of the little people.
That's where it starts at.
That's where it starts at. That would
That-
make America great again. Taking care of the little people, making sure that the poor is stable
yeah,
and give them programs that they can have access to become better operating citizens of America.
yeah.
Amen.
Raising the minimum wage so
Yes.
people can make enough money to live.
Yes.
You know, so
You
family can support
can't
each
make any money. You can't take care of family off of $7 and something an hour. You
in
just can't.
2025.
Yeah, you
That's
can't.
ridiculous. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it is.
That could be another topic.
That's another topic, another day. I want to
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining Stoney and Jamar. If you would like to be a guest on the show, info at iamstonylove.com. Thank you so much. And until the next time, drink your water and mind your business. And we're signing off.
All right, son. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Bye bye.
Bye.